your partner you are not happy and add excitement back to their relationship without sex.
Without what?
Hold on. So you want, hold on, say that. So what part about without sex? What do you mean? Elaborate on that.
Because, I'm sorry, men, but most men think
When I get to my 2 cent segment, I'll deal with that. Are healthy relationships boring? Oh my goodness. Kevin Samuel said something when he was alive. He said women need stability, security, etc. And that's pretty boring. But I'm 57 years old now, and I'm all about boring, okay? Welcome, everybody. I'm Dr. Sims, host of the Dr. Sims Show. I have a wonderful guest today. This is our season 2, episode 2. I am so excited. And we met on TikTok. Guys, if y'all are not on TikTok, I'm looking in the web camera right now. You need to be on TikTok, but I'm not going to waste any more time because he is a busy man. And I was so excited. He said yes to the interview. So without any further ado, I'm introducing to you Rico, but we also call him Rico. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Well, good evening, everybody. How you doing? I'm Dr. Sim, and guess who flew in for me this morning? His name is Rico. Rico, how you doing, man?
Hey, appreciate you having me, Dr. Sims.
Hey, man, I am so thankful that you said yes. It is so good to see you. Well, listen, man, introduce everybody, because when we were in the green room, you began to kind of talk about how you came about your name and how you got here. Kind of talk about that story, how somebody was using your name and likeness to scam people.
Yeah, so I was living a normal life, right? I've been in the Army over 20 years.
Okay.
I was a first sergeant in the Army. I'm a senior leader to a lot of people. And one day I went to work, and one of my young soldiers, one of the staff sergeants, he said, "Hey, Top, I saw you on Facebook." And I thought, that because I don't have a Facebook. And he goes, "No, I saw you using a shadow account, another account for peace," is what he was saying. "Hey, Top, you got a side?" And I thought, this is weird. So I went and I looked into it, and it come to find out African hackers were using my pictures, my videos that I had posted on YouTube 10 years ago, and were pretending to be me. And women were falling in love with the image of me, but not knowing who I was.
Okay.
I wanted to set the record straight, and I was trying to figure out a way to do that. And it's a long story, but what I did was I got on TikTok, and I started talking videos of me just explaining to all the victims, I'm the real Rico, and I don't love you.
Right.
And I've never been to Afghanistan. I'm not dead. All these different things that they had been falling for the years. And a lot of the victims reached out to me, and they were still in love with me. They wanted to follow me. They wanted to see new content. And I kind of fell victim to it. Okay, I'll be real.
Okay.
I like thirst trap videos. I started dancing. I started working out online. It was intoxicating. You're just a man, and there's 5,000 women talking to you every day that have been infatuated with you for years, and now they finally meet the real you,
right?
And they think they love you. And I was just like, wow, this is a good hobby. This is the coolest thing ever. I'm going to do this, and I get all this random attention. It was just kind of cool. I saw a bunch of dance videos. I'm a great dancer.
Okay.
I started making videos, and I swear I had maybe, I don't want to exaggerate, I had maybe 60, 70 dance videos. I danced like Usher, right? I'm like this guy. And but one night before bed, I saw a video on, I think it was like Barstool Sports.
Okay.
And it was about Coach Prime. And somebody said, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, this was early December last year. And someone said, Deion Sanders is not an X's and O's coach. He's not going to succeed. And I felt some type of way about that. I felt it was an ignorant statement to make. I felt like they were uninformed in the world of sports.
Right.
And I have a background in sports. I've known sports my entire life. Obviously, I used to be a sports writer.
Okay.
And you know what, man? I got something to say. And instead of doing my little Twitter finger thing where everybody writes back and forth in the comments, I hit reply and recorded a video showing my face with a rapid delivery and just with a certain amount of candor and assertiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And I made that video, and I went to bed. And up until that point, I had never had a video over 2,000 views.
Wow.
And I woke up the next morning, it had 300,000 views.
Wow.
And I thought, what in the world? And people just kept writing, He knows what he's talking about. This man knows sports. Listen to him, the way he delivered it, all this stuff. And I thought, wow, let me try that again. So another video, another topic. I hit reply. And over time, I've segued into kind of understanding the market and what's needed in the sports world. And I have a very keen mind in regards to marketing and understanding how to be successful at this. I always felt I'd be successful at anything I ever did in my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been military intelligence, a cyber expert for the NSA and Army Cyber for the last. So when I started applying my level of intellect and aptitude to college football and to social media, well, the sky's the limit, and I've never looked back. And here we are. It's been less than a year, and I get over 1 million views a day, and I do this for a living. Change my entire profession. I changed the path of my trajectory of my life just by talking sports.
That is awesome, man. That is so awesome. So let me ask you this. Speaking of Coach Prime, that was a great segue into my next question. So what is making, or what has made Coach Deion Sanders, Coach Primetime, and we want to talk about the making of a good leader, a good coach. What has made him successful?
Well, something I learned in the military as an executive level leader, you need to start making decisions that are for the good of the organization as a good of individuals, right? When you're a lower level leader, a manager, a first line leader, maybe you have 3 or 4 people that work for you. Sometimes you have a hard time grasping what the executive leaders are doing and why they're making the decisions they're making, right? It might even be budget cuts and somebody being fired or anything of that nature. What I think Coach Prime does extremely well is he manages resources. And in this, the resources are his coaches and his players. And a lot of people don't understand that he allocates a certain amount of energy to different, demographics and different position groups, for example. And it's really paying dividends as a head coach. When you can manage everything beneath you, remember, don't try to be a micromanager, but be a detail-oriented manager. He's extremely detailed, knows what he's doing, and I think that's why he's succeeding. He has the right people beneath him working for him.
That is good. So his team, he's building a team. He's got great resources. The people are showing up for him. And I love how you painted a picture and said, why is he going to be successful? So in your estimation, why is he going to be successful? I know he's got the right ingredients and he's managing his resources, but how can you forecast his success? What do you believe that's going to be the real reason he's being successful?
Well, initially, I believed in the assistant coaches. So I've studied all of them. Bartolome being the wide receivers coach. He was a former offensive coordinator at Jackson State and the former wide coach at Nevada before that. And when he was at Nevada, that wide receiver room, about 5 of those guys are NFL ready right now. And 3 of them are in the NFL. Romeo Dobbs, Elijah, I forget his last name right now, but Elijah just got signed by the Jaguars as an undrafted free agent. The tight end is with the Redskins or Washington Commanders right now. And Torrey Horton just transferred to Colorado State. But these coaches, they have pro pedigree. Like they've created players and developed them to get to the next level. So I believe in that. I really believe in Sean Lewis, despite what some people might say, the offensive coordinator, former head coach at a group of 5 school, understanding that if you want to be a head coach in the Power 5, you have to be a coordinator in the Power 5. So he leaves Kent State. It wasn't like he was doing substandard. He was doing great. And he brought his offensive line coach with him and Bill O'Boyle, Coach OB. They bring the 2 of those guys together. There's instant continuity, understanding what you can do with the offense. And I watched this team at Kent State. You look at that team, the quarterback, Colin Schlee, transfers to UCLA. 3 wide receivers. 1 Polk, he transfers to West Virginia. Cephas transfers to Penn State. Walker transfers to North Carolina. The running back, Quez Cooper, was a back-to-back 1,200-yard rusher. So he was doing so amazing with these players that nobody knew. If you could only imagine what is Sean Lewis going to do with 4- and 5-star kids or just very talented players that are coming over to Colorado. It's exciting.
It is. All right, when we come back, I want your take on, did Prime, was it good or bad that he left Jack State the way that he did? And I want you to talk about that a little bit. And y'all, we're going to run to a quick break and we'll be right back.
I want you to know I am so excited about this Sync Wire product, the car wireless FM transmitter. I set it up yesterday, real easy setup, and I called one of my colleagues on the phone through the transmitter, through the FM transmitter, and we were talking. And I said, Coach Angel, can you hear me okay? And she said, Dr. Sims, you sound clear as a bell. And I'm just telling you, I'm so excited because I do a lot of communicating in my car, and most states now are hands free. And so this allows me to be on the phone, drive hands free without any complication. So you need to do yourself a favor. If you're like me and you pretty much spend a lot of time in your car, you need this SyncWire product. And remember, as I always say, if you stay high on life, life is gonna stay high on you.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So Rico, when Coach Prime left the HBCU, he got some people applauded him, but he got a lot of pushback for leaving the HBCU. The HBCU community wanted him to stay there. But what was your ideology about him leaving? Was in your mind, was it good or bad?
So there's two things. Number one, I thought he handled it like a grown man. Okay. Going to see your team face to face, letting them know that you're making a decision to depart, telling some of the players, hey, you might need to stay here and play for Coach TC Taylor because you're not cut out for the FBS level. I just love the fact that he was able to face them and tell them the truth and be honest with them. If you remember Scott Satterfield, he was the head coach at Louisville, and he left to go to Cincinnati, and he's the current head coach in Cincinnati. Right. When he left the team, they found out via FaceTime and via text message, okay? That man did not want to face his team. Now, maybe it's wasted energy because they're no longer your team anymore anyway, so who cares? But for me, looking at it from a man-to-man standpoint, I really respect. The next thing I'm going to say is if you had a job and they were paying you $3.75 an hour and you got a job offer to work for $52 an hour, what would you do? Because if you keep it, if $375,000 versus $5 million a year, Coach Prime's got to go. And you got to go for the dollar. I don't care how much money you've made in your life. There isn't many jobs in this world where you're going to make $5 million a year doing something you love, right? There just isn't. It's not realistic. So that's number one, or as you were, number two. And then the last thing, you get to put your kids on a pedestal and give them a platform to succeed and get to the next level. And anything we can do for our kids, we should never be, we should never be appalled for it or shamed or vilified. This is what you need to do. And other parents don't have to agree. People can disregard everything I just said and be like, yo, he has a lot of broken promises because he went into living rooms and told mothers and fathers that God sent him here and this is why he's doing it. I got it. Right. But you know what? Kirby Smart is telling kids today that their son or daughter is going to play for him, they're going to start for him, and they're a generational talent. And then when they get to the school, he forgets he said any of that stuff. So why is there a double standard in this regard? I don't understand.
That is awesome. So what do you believe? And we see the product that's being put on the field. So what do you, if you were a consultant and he hired you to consult him about to strengthen his team, to get ready to beat the USCs and the Oregons and to really compete for a national championship, he said he's about $7 or $8 away. Where do you think he needs to strengthen his team?
Well, first and foremost, you can't predict injuries. You can't really predict how you're going to react in the fight as well. Like coaching decisions in the middle of the game, that could cost you a game, right? But when it comes down to it, Coach Prime took over a program that wasn't competitive in their losses. Like people talk about the fact that this team last year was losing games by 40 and 50 points. That's not necessarily true. They were losing games by more than that. Those teams were calling off the dogs, putting in second stringers in the second half, and didn't run up the score. They were further away than 40 or 50 points from these teams.
Right.
So the only thing you need to do this season is be competitive in your losses. That's it. You can lose. Be competitive. Do not go out there and look ridiculous. That game against Oregon, that was not competitive. But this week, fighting back, being competitive, strike for strike, touchdown for touchdown, that's what you're looking for. If people study Tulane and TCU last year, both of them had breakout seasons, and everybody looks to them and says, why can't Colorado do that? Well, go back to the year before, 2021, both those programs. When they were winning 4 or 5 games, they were competitive in their losses. They weren't just out getting blown out. So I think Colorado needs to follow that template, and they'll be fine. I'm encouraged by what I see.
I am as well. Now let me ask you this: since you are, and we're going to jump to the NFL in a moment, but I want to know this: do you believe Shadir Sanders, the quarterback for Colorado, do you think he's a Heisman candidate? I heard one guy, I heard on one of the talk shows, Shadir is doing more with less than a Caleb Williams is doing with USC. Now, I don't know if the Heisman voters take that into consideration, but Shadir would get my Heisman vote.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not going to happen. To win the Heisman, you need to be on a winning team.
Okay.
At least 10 wins. You need to be probably in your conference championship game. So there is no other way around it. There are plenty of quarterbacks in the country doing, more with less. There are a group of 5 quarterbacks everywhere, but there hasn't been a 5 quarterback win the Heisman since Ty Detmer in 1990 at BYU. So you got to be at a Power 5 school. You got to be dominating the competition, and your team has to be one of the top teams in the country, if not the best. When they go into voting, you cannot be 6-6. You cannot be 7-5. Those quarterbacks don't make it to New York.
Unfortunately, I understand that. Listen, we're going to run to another quick break, and then we're going to hop to the NFL because I want to know what's wrong with the Dallas Cowboys. I believe Dak Prescott is a good quarterback, but that interception he threw in the Cardinals game broke my heart. I'm like, Dak, really? Dak? But we're going to run to a quick break, and when we come back, I want you to help me dissect the Cowboys and our legitimate chance to go to the Super Bowl. We'll be right back, guys.
If you would like to support the Dr. Sim Show, send your donations to Cash App $Walter H. Sims. And remember, we stay high on life.
All right, we back. Now, all of us Cowboy fans, like your twin brother, we die hard Cowboy fans. Every year for the last 28 years, we're going to make it back to the Super Bowl. But since Troy, Emmett, Irvin, Playmaker, we have not sniffed a Super Bowl. So in your estimation, because I value your opinion, what's wrong or right with the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, let's start with the positive. What's right? They have an amazing defense. Micah Parsons looks like a Hall of Famer.
Right.
And that defense is going to keep them in games. Okay. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with the Cowboys. Literally nothing. I think that when they play the game and they're on the field, that's their best chance to win. Now, I know that sounds kind of cliche and simple. What I'm really trying to say is every offseason, the Cowboys lose. Every offseason, Jerry Jones is their general manager, and they cannot overcome that. He's the owner, general manager, and he's making decisions that aren't always the most conducive to the team being successful on the field. That's the reality. Now, when they get on the field, they play good. They win the division, competitive in the division. They make it to the playoffs, and only one team's going to win the Super Bowl. But this year, they've got 2 road games coming up, right? They play the 49ers next on the road. That's going to be difficult for them to be as dominant as we've seen. And then they go on the road against the Chargers. They should be fine. But they still got to play the Eagles twice. So there's still hurdles out there to see how good they are. But you're in the NFC. Other teams are good. 49ers, that's the reality of the situation. You got to be better than the 49ers. And I don't know if they are. I personally don't know if they are. But they are competitive. They're dominant in certain aspects of the game. And that's it. What I will tell you is, in my estimation, and me studying this game, you need a quarterback that was drafted in the top 15 to win a Super Bowl. Now, Patriots did it for many years without one. You can see the Eagles are doing it. They're getting to the Super Bowl, but not winning with Hurts. But I'm telling you, if you want to be dominant in the NFL and be competitive year in and year out, you need a quarterback in the first round in the top 15 picks. And the Cowboys don't have that. For the last 20 years, 30 years, they've been using quarterbacks that are good, but it's an undrafted agent and Tony Romo, or it's a 4th rounder. And when you see a 4th round quarterback, and you hit on it, Dak Prescott. What about a 4th rounder like Kirk Cousins? They all have a ceiling that isn't quite winning Super Bowls. Definitely good enough, but you're not going to win a Super Bowl. You need to go find those guys. That's why I think a team like Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence, they're close. They're closer because they have the right guy at the right position.
Well, let me push back a little bit. So help me with this. What's that it factor? Because Tom Brady, 20 years, he's won 7 Super Bowls, and he was a 6th round pick, I believe. And there are some oddities to that. But to your point, but what makes a first round, that top 15, what's the difference between them and a 4th round, a Dak Prescott? What's that it factor, or is there a way to quantify it?
So there is. I mean, it's simply very marginal, right? In the NFL, it's a game of inches, as they say. And the thing that we used to say back in the 90s or the 80s and 90s was intangibles, right? Nobody talks like that anymore. They don't use that term anymore. These quarterbacks got intangibles or the it factor, or they got leadership traits. What we're running into now is raw athleticism and athletic ability, right? Certain players can just make plays with the ball in their hands that other players can't. And we don't know how to describe it other than he's got it. And then you want to think like a guy like Curry has it, but he doesn't, right? He's close, but he's a little too short. The stride's not long enough. He can't get the ball downfield. So you're just running into a guy like Dak Prescott, who's very good, very serviceable, but everything Dak does, somebody else does it a little better. And that little margin is what wins you the game. I'll tell you what, though. It doesn't matter how good your quarterback is. If Zeke Elliott is playing center on your final play of the season, you're not going to win anything. So sometimes, coach.
I'm like, okay, you said earlier that you kind of shifted your business model, if you will. So what did you do? And thank you for your service, by the way. What did you do before you shifted wholeheartedly to talking sports on TikTok?
Right. So I'm a cyber expert. I work in the military. I used to work for Army Cyber and NSA. I'm a certified ethical hacker. I know a lot about cyber. And when I was getting ready to retire from that, I was going to join the world of the private sector and go pursue that. And it's very lucrative and everybody talks about it. But when I got on TikTok, I was just Rico and a bunch of numbers. Okay. It was a bunch of numbers. And somebody wrote me a comment one day and said, man, Rico, I can't find your videos because I can't search for a simple name. I don't know all the numbers. And I'm trying to tell my friends who you are, and I'm getting it wrong. He goes, you just know everything. Why don't you just change your name to Rico Knows? And I read it, and I just thought, man, that's pretty cool. I switched to Rico Knows. And then over time, I'd say about 500 videos, I came up with a motto, and I kept trying to say it at the end of videos and getting it wrong. I would say it kind of clunky, not be consistent, and then one day it finally stuck. And it's your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Everybody says it. I could be out in public. Just the other day, I was out walking around. I was going running errands, and this gentleman from across the way, who's a huge man, 6'6" black man, now Rico knows. And I was like, yo. And no one else knew what he was doing. He's screaming and yelling, ran up to me, gave me a hug, dapped me up and everything. And he said, man, I watch you every day. You are the best thing on the internet, all this stuff. And it's only a matter of time before the TV networks find out about me. It's only a matter of time before we get. But for now, independently, Rico knows I never want to change a thing. Right. That's why I down agents. I've been turning down offers because I will not change who I am and the origin of where I came from. I just won't.
So what's that next thing in the last couple of minutes of our interview? What's that next level for you? What you're right here, but what's your next big jump? I mean, you're in college league now. You're in college now, but I know you want to go to the pros one day. So what's that next level of jump for you?
Well, the biggest thing would be affiliate sponsorship, right? There are other people that I'm interested in working with. Everybody always thinks about like FanDuel and DraftKings, ESPN, Barstool Sports, Fox, but I don't like any of those, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of those. There is one, though. There's one, it's called The Volume. And The Volume is a company owned and founded by Colin Cowherd, right? And Colin Cowherd started The Volume. It's estimated to be worth $100 million. And that makes it sound like it has the right budget for me. But I really just want a partnership with somebody equivalent to The Volume. And just somebody who says, hey, keep doing your studio show because I do a podcast every single night. And keep doing your videos and we'll let you be who you are. I do not want to be censored. I'm not made for TV. Let's just put it like that.
Amen to that.
Yes, sir.
That's good. So how can people get up with you? How can people follow you? Where is Rico Knows?
Yeah, the easiest way to do it, there's two spots where you'll primarily find all of my information, all my data, all my videos. That's TikTok and YouTube. Just search Rico Knows, and Knows, Knows. You can do it in one word or two words. One thing that's very important is if you put in hashtag Rico Knows on TikTok, you're going to find more videos than you've ever imagined, because I've made at least 3,000 videos in the last year and a half.
That is so awesome. Listen, if you don't mind, email me back, respond to email, and send me your cell number. I'm going to lock you in my phone, because when I feel bad about my Cowboys, I want to call you for some motivation, okay?
You're on with a whole lot of fans.
That is so awesome. Well, listen, thank you for being here, and you keep doing what you do, because your friend may not know, but Rico knows.
I appreciate you, Dr. Sims. Have a blessed day.
You too, my friend.
If you would like to support the Dr. Sims Show, send your donations to Cash App $Walter H. Sims. And remember, we stay high on life.
Hey, everybody, look, you saw that clip earlier, and this young lady says she wants excitement in her relationship, because basically her significant other is boring. The sex needs to be amped up, yada, 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 yada. And I like what one of the young men said. If you're looking for your partner to bring you excitement, you want them to entertain you. And what we need to understand in relationships, that some people love chaos. That's how they were brought up. They grew up with chaos. Dad and mama shouting, yelling, cussing, fussing all the time. And for them, that's exciting. But as I grow older and continue to grow and get older, I'm 57 now, healthy, non-toxic, stable, secure, peaceful, happy, joyful, smiling, no drama. I'm all about that. And even Cardi B said that when she goes and has normal guys in her life, that's boring to her. She want to fight, and she want to wonder and worry if you cheating on her. She wants all the smoke. Well, that smoke is stressful. You know, I don't know how you feel about it, but smoke is real stressful. Okay, my challenge for you is you make sure you're happy. You make sure you're exciting. If you want excitement in a relationship, you make it happen. If you want it to be on and popping, and you want to be jumping off the bed and swinging from the chandeliers, you make that thing happen. All right. But as I said earlier, Kevin Samuel said, what women need is security and stability and monotony. And sometimes that can be a bit boring, but I'm telling you, peace is priceless. Peace is priceless. Remember that. And love always wins. And just love that person in your life. And if you want more, you bring more. All right. And well, that's been my 2 cents.
I want you to know I am so excited about this sync wire product, the car wireless FM transmitter. I set it up yesterday, real easy setup. And I called one of my colleagues on the phone through the transmitter, through the FM transmitter. And we were talking, and I said, Coach Angel, can you hear me okay? And she said, Dr. Sims, you sound clear as a bell. And I'm just telling you, I'm so excited because I do a lot of communicating in my car, and most states now are hands-free. And so this allows me to be on the phone, drive hands-free without any complication. So you need to do yourself a favor. If you're like me and you pretty much spend a lot of time in your car, you need this SyncWire product. And remember, as I always say, if you stay high on life, life is going to stay high on you.
Well, listen, I want to thank Rico Knows again for being on the show today. I'm so excited. I love social media. I love TikTok. Guys, if you're not on TikTok, hop on TikTok. It's the end thing now. You know, social media, you still got your Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, etc. But TikTok, love some TikTok. And one of the things to take away today is make sure you manage your resources very well. All right. And until the next show, remember, we stay high on life. Until next time, I'm Dr. Sims.